Exactly 1 year ago today, I couldn't sleep. A year ago today, ETO was born. One idea. I challenged myself. I said I wasn't doing enough to impact the people around me. I wasn't doing enough to be called a hero of the people, yet I have nothing to represent them. What could I give everybody that I know? What if someone needed my help and I couldn't be there? What could I give them that would benefit them in the long run? And that's when I came up with Project DTO. Now, 1 year later, exactly, we've completed our funding for Project DTO. January the 14th, of us holding equality, transparency, and obligation above all else to be the most important factor when dealing with our civil servants going forward. If you're not fully aware of the situations that have been brewing in our country, now more than ever do we need to start holding our political officials and civil servants to a higher standard, because this is not acceptable and a horrible representation of what the better version of us should be. Let's talk about ETO's funding, and let's talk about the 99 people that it took to raise $6,000, because I think it's important you know who those people are.
All of us kinda like 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 all of us kinda like.
So strictly looking at ETO from a number aspect, I was able to raise $9,000 in 364 days. To give you the best representation of what the numbers look like without me being involved, I alone donated $2,990 of my own money to Project DTO. This money came directly from me, as I feel I'm the person who came up with this vision. It's only right that I put a physical presence behind it. Speaks magnitudes for my capability. So why did I need the money? Or why rather did I ask for it? I wanted to see how many people were really concerned about the situations going on in their world. More importantly, I wanted to see how many people actually believe that this is something they would use in a day-to-day activity. Because a true showing of one's hand, faith, and belief in you isn't necessarily in their words, but in their pockets. And the numbers don't lie, because 3,147 people made their way to Project DTO on the GoFundMe page. Of the 3,147 individuals in the course of 364 days, putting it roughly about 9 people visiting Project DTO a day. 207 people shared something from Project DTO as they saw it. That's basically sharing a post once a day in 7 hours. Someone mentioned Project DTO on the internet at least once every 48 hours. Let's take Project DTO's top donations in order from lowest to highest. The 5th highest person to donate to Project DTO is a victim of police violence. They lost a loved one to police violence. They donated $250 of their own cash. It's a shame that we had to meet on these terms though. The 4th highest donation I received was from the prodigal child himself, Go Dog, my brother. That's right, he donated $290 of his hard-earned Georgia money to Project DTO, and I greatly appreciate that. The 3rd highest donation I received came from a UAPB alumni. She is part of the armed forces and considered to be one of Project DTO's honorary civil servant. I salute and greatly appreciate everything you did for us. She donated $400. A person who wasn't a victim of police brutality witnessed another person lose their life in broad daylight and immediately thought back to a video that she saw of mine on YouTube and how ridiculous it was at first. She spent 3 days looking for that same video because she knew that was the only way she could ever get in contact with me again. This person donated $410 because they were emotionally scarred by what they saw and didn't want it to happen to anyone else. And the highest donation I received came from one of my mentors in the lump sum of $600, $50 donation for the last 12 months. Let's look at the frequency at which people donated. Like I said, 99 people donated to Project DTO over the course of 364 days. The person who donated the most frequently, from the fewest to the most, these 8 individuals donated 3 separate times, which I greatly appreciate. In no specific order, we have Jamal Cornell, Freshman, Darius, Victim 1, Porkchop, and Darnell Cochran. These 8 individuals know me personally and have been following ETO. In fact, these same 8 individuals also account for 32% of the likes that I received on Facebook, so that was pretty awesome. Tied for second was a two-way avenue, which would have been my brother, Luke, and Brian Carradine, who both donated 4 separate times. And of course, number 1 on this list for donating the most to Project DTO with an outstanding 12 times in the course of 364 days goes to my mentor. Let's give you some more stats. 92% of all donations came from civilians, meaning that only 7.07% of donations came from civil servants, which is a big time issue. Because the theory is there's only a few bad apples, so there should be a lot more good apples looking for this type of reform. And we're starting to see this as the Chicago Police Department was under the knife with the DOJ coming out with a formal report basically saying, no, the police officers are the reason for the horrible crime, the horrible homicides, and the horrible statistical disadvantage that minorities are facing in the city. The simple fact that the long-term excuse saying that minorities are just more violent than their white counterparts is being laughed out of the courtroom by the DOJ when they basically said that the police department is making it nearly impossible for civilians of Chicago to live in a structural, peaceful foundation alongside police. Believe it or not, ETO is a lot more for the officers than it is for the civilians, because if you're a good officer, you'll have no problem giving us some of your bad officers so we can help you get them off the street without fear of retaliation, because no one can kick me off the police department because I'm not a police officer. Let me fight your fight for you. This is a really interesting stat. Of all the people that donated to Project DTO, only 38% of the 99 people who donated to Project DTO actually knows what ETO stands for. Thanks. And of the 99 people, only 1 person didn't even know what ETO was. In fact, when I asked them why they donated, they thought, and I kid you not, a European soccer player by the name of ETO. Donated $50 though, so you gotta love that. Per ETO post, I get 13 likes. So basically, in the course of 364 days, I accumulated 2,691 likes. Based on how often you saw my post on Instagram about donating to Project DTO, I basically asked you 5 times a day to donate to Project DTO, which basically pans out to me asking you by myself to donate to Project DTO 1,033 times. Are you annoyed yet? The biggest donation given at one time was $410, while the lowest donation given to Project DTO was $10. That means on average, every person who donated to DTO donated around $41, with 56 people donating over $41. Well over 50% of the people who came to donate to DTO came with the idea of donating upwards of $40 or more. In the course of 364 days, 99 people came to donate, which is basically every 3 days and 6 hours, somebody was donating to Project DTO, which is also pretty outstanding. But considering that 3,147 people visited Project DTO, if half those people donated when they first arrived, we could have completed this task all the way out in March. Even taking a step further, of the 222 times that Project DTO showed up on Facebook, if half of those people donated, we could have been done in October. I give you these numbers to give you something to think about. Is our ability to support each other being hindered by something? No, like seriously, what reason would you have for not supporting Project DTO? If you thought it was a scam, this 364-day tribunal of me posting nearly non-stop 60 hours of video content and talking with stats with numbers to back it up, what would stop you from donating to Project DTO or even supporting it? A lot of people aren't really sure how to help because they don't really know how to help. Statistically speaking, if your name is Raven and you're a female, you're 3% more likely to donate to Project DTO than any other female name. And if you really want to take a closer look, if your last name is Turner, you're also more likely to donate to Project DTO. The Turner family loves Project DTO and Project DTO loves you. If we're going to keep this in the family, let's look and see which family member loves Hero the most. If love is to be dictated by donations, then it's very clear here the people who are supposed to be loving me the most are not. Tied for last place is my lovely sister. Not only is she the most beloved in our household, she is also going to be the person who is least likely to give you any money because she is to be spoiled by her 2 older brothers at all costs, and that same theory has perpetuated throughout my whole entire life. In fact, I would be a millionaire by now if it wasn't for Nafi. But like I said, she was tied for last place. And the reason why she was tied for last place is because my dad was also next to her in this race, which is completely understandable when you think about it, because my dad is busy paying Nafi, so he's definitely not going to be giving me any money. Now let's talk about strongholds. As my mother steps up to the plate and donates a significant amount of money to Project DTO, which is greatly appreciated, but I feel she definitely could have been a lot higher up on this list, but because she had to carry a 10 10-pound baby for 9 months. I'm feeling the side effects of that pregnancy right now. Top of that list is definitely going to be the Prince himself. If you can't tell, Luke's my favorite, and it's not because he's donating, it's because he sends me free stuff, and I appreciate it. And not only that, because if this business venture blows up, he'll probably be running it while I'm in medical school. Consider this a wedding gift. You're welcome. My extended family is being neglected. It's for sure I have 101 aunties and uncles who definitely supported Project DTO and stepped up to the plate when I needed them to. Not to say that anyone's better than the other, but I greatly appreciate both of you. Here goes some more interesting stats. Just because you're my enemy doesn't mean you can't support me. Because 3 people have admittedly said that I am an arrogant asshole and they would never want anything to do with me ever again in life. All donated to Project DTL. If I said I loved you last year, you were more likely to donate within the first 10 hours versus someone I just said I like. And to put that in context, basically, when I say I love you, you're 78% more likely to donate. Now this one really kills me. My exes were 43% more likely to donate to Project DTO if I asked them to than girls that I am actively texting at the moment, sitting at 28%. But let's take this in the context of reference. Depending on when I was in school and when I met you, it will dictate your frequency to donating to Project DTO. The 3 major schools I'm going to be referring are Thornton Fractional North, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and Texas Tech. If I met you at Thornton Fractional North and asked you to donate, you are definitely more likely to donate upon request, with 0 to no questions being asked. But encounter, fewer of you guys donated, as I don't really keep in contact with as many people as I should, seeing as how I deleted my Facebook right after college. But considering the big time boost that I got from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, which is for every person that donated to Project DTO that attended the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, when I posted that picture, 3 people they knew donated within the next 48 hours. And if they liked the picture, they were more likely to donate within the next 10 minutes. So that's major props to the UAPB family for stepping up and taking on a large bulk of these donations, as UAPB related students or people I met within my UAPB days were more frequent donators. But if you want to look at the numbers all the way, Texas Tech definitely carries the big ticket. People that I met while attending Texas Tech were definitely more willing to shell out bigger donations. Although they weren't as frequent, their donations usually ranged in the average of $100 or more. So that's pretty cool. Based on age, if you're 26 years old, you're more likely to donate to Project DTO, and you are more frequently donating to Project DTO. 23 or below, you are less inclined to donate. Also donate the lowest amount, which is completely understandable. It's tough times out there. We all trying to find it and make our way. And the least active donators were 29 to 33, as they just couldn't seem to get a good grip on, as 29 to 33 is sort of like the God, what am I doing with my life right now situation. Here's another interesting stat. 70% of the people that donated didn't even know my real first name. You donated money to a complete stranger. You go to heaven for that type of stuff, right? Like I said, guys, we could punch these numbers all day, which basically begs the question. If I asked you for $41 and told you it's going to go to a good cause, would you give it to me? Take this advice. No matter how you want to cut it, we made it, and that's a blessing on its own. Now, after running the gauntlet for 364 days, what am I going to do one-up myself? What am I going to do to make sure ETO is successful and ends up on your cell phone? Come on, guys, it's me. I'm gonna keep grinding. And my goal for next year is to have ETO on your phone. Mark my words. By this time next year, you're gonna have ETO on your phone.
JP Sounds.